Alright, welcome to part 2 of our website and development design series. Today I want to cover exactly what a website is and how a website exactly loads onto someone's computer. It's important to understand what exactly you are making, how it is when it does load onto someone's computer. To put it simply, between a computer and a website, it is a client-server communication. More specifically, between the web server, which is hosting the website, and the client/browser. A browser will request a resource from a website server, and the server will respond to that browser. For example, a browser may want to enter the home page of a website, and the web server will receive this request and send back the resources to see the home page HTML file. Once a browser receives the resources to construct the web page on the client's computer, it will construct what is called a DOM, or Document Object Model, which represents all the building blocks of the web page, which can include pictures, text, titles, etc. Next, let's talk about HTTP, which is something you have most likely seen on every website address ever. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is simply the language used between the web server and browser. Most times, you will see HTTPS instead, which is the same as HTTP but comes with added encryption, meaning the messages exchanged between the server and browser is encrypted, meaning third parties can't read into those, which is really good for protecting sensitive information. Next, let's say you want to visit a website. The website we will use for our example is thebluealliance.com. This address is called the URL, or Uniform Resource Locator, which is kind of like an address for a resource on the web. These resources can include more than just the web page, such as images, videos, and more. Looking more into the URL, let's go left from right here. First, we have the scheme, which indicates the language the browser will use to ask for resources from the web server. Most times, it is just HTTP or HTTPS. Next is the portion that has the colon and the 2 forward slashes. This is called the character pattern. Next is the authority, which normally only contains the domain, such as www.domain.com, but sometimes it could contain the port number, which normally this doesn't show since most websites will default to 80 or 443. Next, we have the path to resource, and for a home page, we don't normally see the path since the index HTML is your starting point. However, for a point that is deeper into the website, will be displayed here. Up next are your parameters, which is followed by a question mark. Parameters are used when a web server wants to perform actions with a resource before returning it to the browser. Lastly, you have anchors, which is like a bookmark inside of a page. For example, when I load this web address to look up what div containers are, and I use the example anchor, it will take me straight to the example section of the div container web page. To demonstrate more about resources that are given by the web server to the browser, let's look more precisely on an example website and see how this works. Let's jump onto the Blue Alliance to see more. So to get started on the developer tools, what you can do is you can pick any website you want. I chose the Blue Alliance here just as an example. But what you'll do is you can go ahead and right click on your mouse, scroll down to Inspect. You may have to scroll a little bit. Over here, you'll see your little developer tools right here. You can change the size of that. You can use this to look at a lot of fun things here too. If you want to look at the HTML script of that website, you can find this here. If you want to look at different console stuff, you can. One thing we can look at here is the network. And so what I'll do is we'll change the size a little bit. You can refresh the site. And what it'll do is kind of what we talked about earlier. Your browser will send a request to the web server to ask for all these different tags and other elements here too. So of course the first thing we do is call onto the bluealliance.com link, document type, and you'll be able to see all the little different portions of the website homepage, for example. So the TBA lamp logo, which is on the top left here, some of the other different symbols you see on this web page, and into some other like JavaScript items in this portion. You can use this to look at the size of the document, the time it took to load it, all that fun stuff. But that's kind of what you can do for that. In this video, we talked about how websites worked and how they are loaded. I mentioned a little bit about HTML, and so in our next video, we will go more into what exactly is HTML. Alright, see ya.